Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to today's Explainer. So, today we're looking at the Reserve Bank of India, but we're going to look at it a little differently. I want you to picture the entire economy as this massive, packed club. And the RBI, well, they are the ultimate liquidity DJ. Literally, their only job is controlling the overall volume of money flowing through the room. If the party's getting a bit too crazy with inflation, they dial down the volume. But if the economy's looking a little sleepy, they turn the bass all the way up. We are going to decode exactly how they pull this off. All right, so here is the DJ set list for tonight. We've got Act 1, the Master Volume Fader, Act 2, Dropping and Snatching Merch, and finally Act 3, the Mandatory Vault Stash. Keep these three quantitative methods in mind because they are exactly what you need to lock in a perfect 3 marks on your exam. This visual perfectly translates our DJ metaphor into the exact textbook infographic you absolutely need to memorize. It's the RBI's quantitative toolkit. You've got the bank rate and repo rate on the left, open market operations right in the middle, and reserve ratios on the right. We're going to break these down one by one, so stay with me. Let's move to Act 1, the Master Volume Fader, also known as the bank rate and repo rate. So what exactly is the repo rate? Well, the official definition is the rate of interest at which the RBI lends to commercial banks for short periods against government bonds. But honestly, just think of it as the wholesale price of money. If RDJ decides to raise this repo rate, borrowing suddenly gets way more expensive for those commercial banks. And what do banks do? Obviously, they pass that cost right on to us by jacking up the interest rates on our loans. It completely turns down the volume on public borrowing and spending, totally chilling the whole vibe out. Now check out the flip side of that fader, the reverse repo rate. This is actually when the RBI borrows from commercial banks for short periods. Basically, the RBI is literally paying banks to park their extra cash with them. Think about it. If there's way too much cash floating around the dance floor, the DJ uses this reverse repo rate to soak up all that excess liquidity so things don't get completely out of hand. Pretty smart, right? Okay, so tweaking the volume is one thing. But what if the DJ actively needs to reach in and physically pull cash off the dance floor? How do they actually do that? That brings us to Act 2, dropping and snatching merch, or as the textbooks call it, open market operations. All right, you definitely need to know this exact definition for the test. Open market operations, or OMO, is the sale and purchase of government and other approved securities by the central bank in the money and capital markets. Simply put, it's just the buying and selling of bonds. But the mechanics of how this actually controls the cash flow, that is where the magic really happens. Imagine the RBI suddenly drops these exclusive government bonds, almost like limited edition merch. When they decide to sell these securities, commercial banks rush in, using their cash reserves to buy them up. And what happens next? That cash literally drains straight out of the commercial banking system and goes directly to the RBI. The sale of those securities drastically reduces the overall availability of credit. Boom, the crowd's wallets are suddenly way lighter. But hey, let's say the economy's lagging, everyone's bored, and the DJ wants to hype the crowd back up. They do the exact opposite. They buy the merch back. The central bank actually purchases securities from the banks in the open market, which injects pure cash straight back into the bank's wallets. This immediately raises the cash reserves of those commercial banks, and their power to create credit is instantly boosted. The party is back on. And finally, we've got Act 3, the Mandatory Vault Stash. This is all about those strict reserve ratios. See, as a commercial bank, you aren't actually allowed to lend out every single rupee you get. You've got to memorize these 2 lockup rules. First up is the CRR, or Cash Reserve Ratio. This is the percentage of total deposits a commercial bank is legally forced to transfer straight into the central bank's vault. It's totally untouchable. Second is the SLR, or Statutory Liquidity Ratio. This is the proportion of total deposits the bank has to keep locked inside its own vault, usually in the form of cash, gold, or government securities. A bank's total deposits are basically sliced up like a pizza. You have your lendable funds, and then you have those locked-away reserve slices for the CRR and SLR. Now, if the RBI hikes up those percentage requirements, that reserve slice gets way bigger. And that leaves banks with way less free cash to lend out, completely shrinking the credit multiplier. To kill the vibe and lower the volume, the RBI just forces the banks to lock more of their money in the vault. Simple as that. Which brings us to passing the vibe check and nailing that 3-mark question. All right, let's lock this in. Whenever you see an exam question asking for the quantitative methods of credit control, just picture the DJ's toolkit. You've got the volume faders, which are your repo and reverse repo rates. You've got the merch drops, which are open market operations, buying and selling bonds to inject or absorb cash. And you've got the mandatory vault stash, your CRR and SLR reserve ratios dictating exactly how much cash is locked away. Explain these three dials clearly, and I promise you, those 3 marks are easily yours.
So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to test yourself before the exam. If the RBI woke up tomorrow and wanted to throw the absolute biggest economic party ever, causing a massive instant boom in credit and spending, exactly how would they manipulate these 3 dials? Would they raise or lower the repo rate? Would they buy or sell bonds? Hike or slash the CRR? Think about it, run the logic in your head, and you'll be ready for literally anything they throw at you. Good luck studying, and thanks for hanging out for this explainer.